Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to my top 200 games of all time. Let's get at it, shall we? At number 180 is a new game into my collection. It is called Madame Ching. Madame Ching, you're basically the ship at the top corner of a board and you're either moving it horizontally or diagonally down toward the docking areas. Now you're trying to get that ship as far down the coast or the board as you can get, because the further dock you land on will give you the bigger rewards. And those rewards vary. You can also get cars that help you out and mitigate some of your chances of moving even closer. This is a kind of straightforward, simple game, easy game to play. It's a game I've had on my eye for a couple of years now. Finally got it, and I absolutely love this game. In fact, there is someone in my gaming group who says it is his #1 game. So I'm sorry, it's my 180. I love it too, but not as much as he does. He really was impressed by this game just because it looks really good, and there's a little bit of card drafting in there as you're trying to get this perfect journey, and the numbers have to be in descending or ascending order. And once you start, you're trying to get as many different ways to get to the best port that you can. It is a lot of fun and definitely worth checking out. Another game you can get for really cheap that I think is really good. My number 179 is another new game added to my collection called Rum and Pirates. This is a Stefan Feld game, which is kind of family friendly, but you're basically, it's kind of simple, but you're a pirate captain and you're laying a trail of pirates going out through the town, causing a ruckus, doing different things, and you're getting victory points for it. Now, it is kind of I don't know, meeple management or whatever. They're these plastic figures, actually, really nice, that you're trying to use to get as many actions done as you can. But you definitely want to retire for the evening to get back to the ship to get that best bunk, too, because that's worth some extra points, too. Or maybe you're like, you know what, forget the bunk. I can make 2 more trips here and here and get an extra amount of points. There's a lot of options here, and of course, there's a little bit of point salad, too. The game is very simple. It's one of Stefan Feld's easier games, but I see this game coming down in price a lot, which is a good thing. It used to be very, very high, and I got it when it went down to like $30, but I think I've even seen it lower than that now. And definitely for a field fanatic, you're into Stefan Feld, you should definitely get this. But even if you're not, you're like, I don't really like his games. This is different. This is a lot lighter than some of his other games, but it doesn't mean it's a worse game. It's actually a really fun game to play. And even though I do have a few pirate themed games in my collection, I try to avoid getting too many of the same theme. This is one I'm happy to have because Rum and Pirates is a little bit more simpler, easier to play. Like I said, I can play with my nephews, I can play with my adult gaming group, and they enjoy it just the same. My number 178 is Homesteaders. Homesteaders is basically engine building, as you're building the best homestead you can, trying to get it to give you certain items that you can cash in for points, and you can cash in for money that you can buy, win bids on more land to build your settlement. Man, this is a game I suck at. My entire gaming group loves this game, and we'll play it. I even got the expansion, which I think is just garbage. Really doesn't do that much. It's just basically a 5th player and a few extra tokens. But other than that, though, the game itself is fun. I can't build my engine. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I know that if you don't win a few bids, you're out of the game completely. There's no way to catch back up. So I don't like that. There is a runaway, in my opinion, there's a runaway player problem with it. But as long as you're winning at least 1 out of the 3 bids, you're doing good. You don't want to pass up too many bids, because then you won't just be manufacturing anything and everyone has this engine going by then. But it is a fun game. The wooden pieces for this are just absolutely gorgeous. And hey, you know what? My gaming group loves it because they know that's one game I will never win. And I already win a lot of games, so I can't feel too bad. Even though I never win it and I don't enjoy as much as they do, I keep it in my collection because it is fun to see how fantastic I fail. Every time I think I got a good strategy, I fail. I find new ways to fail in this game every time. But I do still enjoy it, and it does get to the table a lot because my gaming group absolutely loves it. Homesteaders. At number 177 is another co-op game in my collection called Ghost Fightin' Treasure Hunters. I have the Creepy Attic expansion for this too, and I do think it's worth playing because it makes the game super hard. In this game, you are basically taking out ghosts and trying to get tokens to either the basement or off the board in numerical order or just any order depending on how you want to tier this game. It has a blue ghost expansion mini expansion you really don't need if you have the creepy cellar expansion, because it basically just add that in there. But this is a solid game. It is a solid game. It's a game obviously for younger kids, but adults play this too. I know my wife played it with me. She enjoys it. My nephews have played it with me. My gaming group has played it with me. All around, just absolutely fun co-op game. Of course, this got played during Halloween recently, a few months ago, and we had a great time busting ghosts. The game can get wildly out of hand, though. All of a sudden, you're rushing those gems. You've got to be taking out those ghosts too, because if those ghosts get too much, just like in Pandemic, they can kind of overrun the board, and if you run out of a certain type of ghost, you're going to lose this game. So you need to make sure to keep that ghost population down as well. So nice balance there. Creepy Cellar does make it a little bit more harder because there's a lot more things going on there. There's jinxes and stuff that can prohibit you from doing things. There's cursed gems, which we play with every time, which basically hinder you as well. And all of it's aggravating, but it still makes for a fantastic game. At number 176 is the game Sentinent. In Sentinent, you're basically rolling these die and assigning them at the beginning to different robots. You put them on your board, and then you're drafting these robot cards, mitigating your dice rolls with these, I think they're called assistants or whatever, and you're trying to get the perfect program. This is kind of a mathy game because you're kind of thinking, okay, I can match the 2 with the 6 up, and then that 6 can match the 3, but I need that 3 to be a 4 to match that other 4. There's a lot of that number crunching you're going to have to. Simple number crunching, but number crunching nonetheless. Now the artwork's beautiful. I have no idea what the theme is here, but I like the unique concept of programming your droids to make sure, because if all of these dice match up perfectly to each droid, the left is higher than the right, or both sides are equal, or the left is lower than the right, then you're going to get some big points in the game. And then of course there's a little area control at the top as you're picking certain droids as well. So it's just a really smart, fun game. It goes for a little bit too much than what I would usually pay for it. I got it in a trade, but check this game out. Check this game. It's kind of hard to describe other than how I just said it there, but it is a really great game, really fun game, and hey, that's why it's on my list. Number 175 belongs to Mayfair Games with their game Atlantis. Atlantis, what a great game. You have all these tiles, you're making this pathway from Atlantis to the mainland, and you're just basically moving your character certain areas on the board depending on what cards you play, and you're landing on these tiles and either picking the one behind then picking up the tile behind you. Now there's only, I believe, two tiles stacked on the board, so if you pick up that second tile, it now becomes water. Well, now at cost, you have to give up one of your treasures to cross over it. Now this game is best played with all the little mini expansions. You can track them down for super cheap on eBay, I believe, but you've got to get the mini expansion for this. The Icarus tile, which counts for 0 points, but you can discard it to fly over a water token, because the water tokens are going to climb as the game goes on. It's going to be harder and harder to get to the mainland without losing a lot, if not all of your treasure. So you gotta be careful on that. But they have other ones called the ships, or these ship tokens. Very smart mechanic. I love this game because you can place your ship token there and permanently you can pass over it for free. Everyone else can pass over it and give you their smallest treasure, or instead discard their largest treasure. Which one are you going to do, right? You may give the small one there, but if too many people are using that ship, which happened to me once, everyone was using my ship. I got tons of 1-2 pointer treasures, and I ended up winning the game because I got so many. All those little points added up to big points at the end. Really a smart game. Now the base game on its own is a lot of fun, but I will never play without these little mini expansions. I think they add so much texture and depth to the game that it's just, I can't imagine playing without it. Again, super cheap to get them on eBay, I believe. But and Atlantis itself is a super cheap game, but it's really fun. A lot of great strategy there. Atlantis, my number 175. Number 174 is Coney Island. Coney Island, you are basically putting out entertainers on this area and then replacing it with rides, hopefully making more money and generating more points. You also have special character cards you can get in the game that can benefit you, and then other people can buy them from you. They're not permanent on you. I really love this game because there's a great balance of resources and points. At first, whenever you put entertainers out there, you're getting more resources, more money, more victory points, more cubes that can help you buy the bigger, rides. But as you are covering up those entertainers and you're moving them back onto your board, that limits the things you can do on your turn. But those people don't give you points either. In fact, at the end of the game, you're going to get negative points for any entertainers that are left out in the, left out on the board still. You're like, oh no, how do I get that perfect balance to have everyone back in my place where I'm doing very limited things, but I'm winning the game? That's where the sweet spot is for Coney Island. It's finding that right balance to where you want to get real popular, have all your entertainers on the board, make all the income, but eventually start taking them off as quick as you can before the game ends, and the game can end really quick. My one complaint about this game is there aren't enough tiles or rides, I should say, to cover the entire board. I want to cover the entire board every time, and that was done on purpose. They're not going to give you tiles to cover the entire board on. But I think it would have been nice if they would have tried. I don't know. But the game is a lot of fun. Every time it comes out, all my gamers are going, which one's this one again? And then we open it up, the box, they look at it and went, oh yeah! And then everyone instantly remembers, oh, I remember liking this game. So it's a game that does get forgotten here or there, but every time it comes back out, everyone remembers how much they love it, and we all love Coney Island. My number 173 is Valaparaiso. Valaparaiso, beautiful looking game, very underrated. I don't know why. In this game, you're establishing paths, putting up trading posts, trying to get certain, you're basically building a deck as well, because you're programming a deck of cards on what you're going to do next. And you definitely want to go first, because that way, hopefully, no one messes up with your program actions, but it will happen either way. Really smart, what I thought smart, laid out game with rules. I thought it was going to be a big hit. I said finally, when this game came out, I was like, this is a game that I'm going to love, as is everyone else. But then I've heard crickets ever since. Not everyone's been into Valaparaiso before, which is kind of weird for me because I still find it a fun game. Every time you take an action at one of the little posts, though, they've got these tiles, and that tile will move off and then move into the center or over to the top, I believe, left of the board. And then from that column, they'll bring another one to replace it. So every time people take actions, there are different things going on at different posts. And they're always going to the same area up here, but then they're being distributed out to whatever area is next, meaning it's not going to be the same actions on one post. Once you go through those actions, there'll be different actions because it has to go through this, I just call it a filter first, and then it just redistributed out into various parts on the board, which adds for so much replayability and so many choices and variations of styles or goals that you can try to achieve. Like, man, I need to get a post here really quick because this is the best one. Not anymore. Now all those special or good tiles I need are over in that area too, so I need to establish a post over there now. Games always making you think on your feet, and I love games like that. So Valaparaiso, underrated but very great game. My number 172 is a big surprise to me because A, I don't really like CMON games that much, and B, this is at a discount store, heavily discounted. I thought, ooh, it's going to be garbage. But I bought it anyway because it was like $10. It is Gang Rush Breakout. Oh my gosh, this is such a fun game. The pieces look amazing, the board looks incredible, and you're putting out these obstacles to hurt other players where you're trying to race across this bridge. I heard one complaint online saying the game, for a racing game, this goes pretty slow. I mean, yeah, you're only moving basically just a handful of spaces each turn, but the thing is, though, you have ramps, you have cops you're avoiding that shoot at you, you have barricades you're putting up with against someone else, and the money is the worst. Even though it's a beautiful game, the money is probably the worst playing component I've ever seen in a board game, period. I've never seen such shoddy work on that. So the money is just horrible to deal with. It's thin paper, itty bitty money. It's terrible. And it was unnecessary too. You don't really need it to be paper. But everything else is really premium, and it is just a phenomenal game. If you do have an Ollie's discount store, it is probably still there. There's copies available here and there. And for $10, check it out. It's a really, I think this game is going to surprise you. And finally, at number 171 is one of the newest Kickstarters that I backed to enter in my collection this year is Red Outpost. Red Outpost, you are living on a communist world. You've gone out there to populate or colonize this world, but it's a communist world. You have to share all the workers. You share all the resources. You don't share the victory though, but it's very thematic, super unique, and a lot of fun. It's pretty cheap to get, brand new, and to be honest, that's just because I guess it's in a smaller game or whatever, but the pieces are great and the game is extremely fun. You're trying to play, every time you move one of these, I can't remember, I think it's like 8 workers, you're going to get an influence on them. Now that could be good, because if they're happy, they're going to give you victory points at the end of the round. However, if other people start moving jobs on them and they're awful jobs, they're going to make them sad, because all of them, I think every job makes them sad except for the one that were professionally tasked to do. That's one that they're okay with. But everything else makes them sad. So it's a great way. You're just trying to dominate certain characters that you're trying to make happy by either having them what they do or take them to the bar for a drink or whatever, or let them sleep in can make them happier. But also someone else can come in there and start making them terrible and putting influence markers on them too, but they don't make sure they don't have enough than you, but lower your score, what you're going to get, or sometimes put you in the negative and end up making negative scores. I know I've seen that done before too. It's a neat, I don't know if that's area control, but character control, character area control, can I call it that? Is just really cool. You got to check this game out. I know it just hit shelves maybe just a few months ago, but Red Outpost, shockingly, for me, because the theme looked a little weird, but shockingly, this is a fantastic game. All right, folks, that is all the time I have for now, but you know what? Come back again, and I'll do 10 more. What do you say?